Hi, this is the Almost Southern Mima, and we're here on a snowy winter day, ready to make some jambalaya. I have my ingredients laid out. I have 1 red pepper, 1 green pepper, 1 large onion, about 3 stalks of celery, 1 can of diced or crushed tomatoes, large can, about 28 ounces. I've got some garlic, some raw chicken that is already cut up, about 1 pound of that, and a ring of andouille sausage. First thing we're going to do is take this chicken over and give it a good browning. Let's use my cast iron skillet to make my jambalaya. It's the right size. It makes a nice pot of jambalaya, and I can do everything in one pot. So I start here with browning the chicken, and if you'll notice over here I already have my pre-cooked rice. Now, you cannot put rice into the jambalaya uncooked because it doesn't cook long enough for the rice to soften. So you're going to want to make 1 cup of white or brown rice ahead of time. That's 1 cup uncooked ahead of time, and it makes this much because rice increases in volume when you cook it. And of course we cook rice at a 1-to-2 ratio. 1 cup of rice for every 2 cups of water. And over here we are browning the chicken. Just going to stir that around in olive oil on high temperature until it gets good and brown. I've removed my chicken from the skillet, and I've added more olive oil, mostly to cool down the temperature in the skillet. And I've added in 1 large onion, 3 stalks of celery, 1 green pepper, 1 red pepper, and 4 cloves of garlic minced. Notice how everything's chopped up about the same size. And we're going to cook this. I think there's somebody outside, or the dog is just trying to remind me that she's behind me and she would like something that smells good. Either way, we're going to keep cooking. And we're just going to simmer this until those onions begin to be translucent. About 3 to 5 minutes. Usually about 3 minutes if you're just sauteing onion. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer when you have the peppers and celery in with it. Season it up and add the fresh tomatoes. And I just poured that all over my spoon. Stir that in. Very similar to making a tomato sauce, only we're going to go a different way with the seasonings. Now you can use fresh tomatoes or home canned tomatoes or just tomato juice. I like little bits of tomato in there, so I used the diced. I think this time it was crushed because that's what I had. And usually when I make this, I either don't have fresh tomatoes or I don't feel like taking the time. Now I'm going to start adding the seasoning. Now I've removed the sifter top from everything except for my red cayenne pepper. That's a little potent. I don't want as much. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon of paprika and about half a teaspoon of ancho. That's ancho chili powder. About half teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. nice generous teaspoon of gumbo filet powder. I'm going to give, well, I guess I am taking the lid off because nothing's coming out of there. Sometimes spices get a little too moist from the air. In Ohio, we get a lot of humidity in the summer. I'll break that up a little bit. Okay. And then about a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. And a nice teaspoon of oregano. If you don't have oregano, go ahead and use thyme or mix them both in. And we're going to let that simmer for just a minute or two before we add in the other ingredients. So often, Southern cooks will either use okra or gumbo filet in their jambalaya. They both have the purpose of thickening up the stew. Okra is a natural thickener because of the starches inside the vegetable. And I like to use both. Now you notice that I used frozen okra, and that is because where I live in Ohio, getting good fresh okra, especially in the middle of winter, is almost unheard of. And so unless I'm harvesting it myself in the summer, or I've frozen it myself, which I guess that's still frozen okra, what I use is frozen okra. So just stir that in, and now I'm going to start dumping things back in. There is the andouille. And there's the chicken. The dog's right here at my feet. She is wanting so badly to be included in this, and she's not going to be. These spices are not good for dogs. And since it's going to take 2 hands, I'm going to cut away while I put in the rice. I've got the rice stirred in. I actually had to take 2 spoons and toss it like I would a salad to get all that rice incorporated. I also add just a little bit of water because it was a little too thick. And as you can see, it's now coming to a boil. So I'm reducing the heat, and I'm going to simmer this covered for about 20 minutes. And the longer you simmer, the better flavor you're going to have. But it's also now will be fully cooked in 20 minutes. So if we're ready to eat in 20 minutes, we can. I'm also going to make some cornbread, and when we come back, I'll have the completed jambalaya and cornbread plated up. All right, and here we have our finished jambalaya, all plated up and ready to go. Some nice cornbread, which is the best thing to serve with it. We're just going to take this out. And I will be slathering on some butter that the dog is already eyeing, and gobbling up this jambalaya with some hot sauce. So I will put the recipe in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you next time on Lisa's Garden Time.